Welcome back to the Gen 20 podcast. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Marina.
And today we're going to be talking about fostering friendships in your 20s. In season 1, we talked quite a bit about friendships, female friendships, and how friendships change in our 20s. And we had so much great feedback on those episodes. So we wanted to kind of dig a little deeper and talk more about how to really foster your friendships as you're growing throughout your 20s. So in those earlier episodes, we talked more about how when we're friends, making friends in our early 20s, it's a lot really defined by, proximity, maybe who you have college classes with, who you work with, who live near, those kinds of things. But then over the next few years, people tend to spread out and space out when your friends end up all around the country, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. I graduated from college and immediately moved across the country from all my friends. And I've then consistently moved back and forth across the country. And so I joke that I have long distance friendships and that I've always had them. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm pretty good at keeping my friendships going because for the longest time I didn't have any friends in my home in the town I was living or
Mm-hmm.
in close proximity. So it's really important to figure out how to keep that connection because I think in college, especially if you live on campus, you see your friends every day. And then if you move to a new city or move to a new state, there's a chance that you're not going to see your friends every day, so you won't talk to them every day. And it's important to be able to feel connected even if you just talk every couple of months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think because right after college, I also moved, right across the country. But pretty much so many of my friends from college are still my friends because we make it a priority to talk to each other. And then I have I kind of see my friends in circles, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's my very close friends, and then there's people who I think I would still call myself great friends with them. We just, don't talk more than every couple months or in some cases maybe once a year, but it's those kinds of friendships where no time has passed at all, but you're still so thrilled to catch up with that person.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like my high school friends are kind of like that. I don't talk to them every day and don't talk to them very often, actually. But as soon as we, FaceTime or are able to catch up in person, it's like no time has passed. And I'm always so happy. And I think a big part of that is feeling like you can pick up where you left off rather than feeling like you have to catch up on all the life details.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that there's also something to be said about kind of not reverting back to the person you were when you first met that friend,
Hmm.
how you might have acted in high school, you're both more mature, older, responsible versions of yourself,
Yeah.
if you will. And I think that just it's really important to realize which friendships you can do that with and which friendships are, maybe you've kind of lived the course in each other's lives.
Yeah. Like I feel like everyone comes into your life and they may not be meant to stay there for the whole span, but you're always going to have a valuable relationship with them because you grow every
Mhm.
time you spend time with a new person.
Mhm.
And so I know I've had friends that when I met them, I thought we're going to be the best friends. And then as soon as we were at different companies, if we met at work and we moved to different companies, our friendship fizzled because the proximity wasn't there. And it doesn't mean I didn't like the person. It was just we weren't meant to be lifelong friends, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
identifying which relationships you don't want to let go of and then figuring out how to then work at them because you do have to work to
Mm.
maintain it. You can't just assume it's always going to be good all the time.
Yeah, I think that is it's a really important point that, some friendships they just kind of live their life. And then others it's you're going to make new friends because as I moved throughout my 20s, I think there was one point where I was like, wow, I haven't made a new friend in a year. Like
Hmm.
even though I've met new people, that's not really anyone I would consider a friend. And I felt like that was kind of shocking, but, like, at the same time, I never really felt lonely because I feel like I talk to my friends, like, all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I talk to my friend on GChat, like, every single day. Marina and I are always texting.
Mhm, and FaceTiming.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
talk to, like, many of my friends many times a week, and I feel like it's just keeping that connection alive even if you can't be in person.
And Nicole and I have been friends since we met in 2013, 2014.
Yeah,
Well,
somewhere
on
around there.
virtually, and then we met in person in 2016 when I flew to Seattle and stayed with her in her studio apartment for the first time. And then but we've never been close proximity friends. Like, our friendship was built through virtual communication, and you're
Mhm.
one of my very best friends. So I
One of
think
my very best friends.
yeah, look how that worked out. But it just goes to show, like, you don't have to be living next door or seeing someone in person every day or every weekend to be able to foster this kind of deep,
Mhm.
meaningful friendship. And I think
Yeah.
also too, it's okay for your friendships to take different roles in your life. Like, not every friendship is going to be the same.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think, like, different friendships connect in different ways, like,
Mhm.
with I mean, a lot of my, friendships, like, we have instances where we've made, like, great memories together over the past, like, few years, and some of those memories happen to be 3-hour-long unlimited brunches where we were all very drunk on mimosas by 11 a.m.
I was
That was
unfortunately
fabulous
not
times.
part of that. I'm devastated.
Next year, 2022.
2022.
Um, and that's just, like, still a funny memory to me, and those are friends I don't talk to all the time, but, I mean, I do talk to them, and that was a hilarious day.
Hmm.
But, I mean, I've also gone on trips abroad with my friends, like, I've been to Switzerland and Iceland with friends. I went on a Mediterranean cruise with one of my friends. Um, and actually last year in 2020, Marina and I and several other people were supposed to go to Turks and Caicos for several days, which didn't happen for obvious reasons, but, I mean, that was gonna be all of us
Yeah.
celebrating turning 30.
Yeah. And I was only friends with, I think, half of those women, and I was pumped because I
Yeah, it was gonna be a great time.
it was gonna be great. And yeah, it's interesting. I recently reconnected with a friend from college who we just kind of lost touch, but
Mhm.
she reached out to me about writing, and she was 2 years younger than me, 3 years younger than me, when she was a couple years younger than me in college, but we were friends. And then I have to catch myself now when I talk to her, because she's not my little baby sophomore friend. She's my friend who's 2 years younger. She's 27, I'm 29. So it's like, oh, I can't just think of her as who she was in college. Like, I have to let her be who she is now, obviously, and the
Mhm.
same for myself. But our friendship has evolved so much because we have this writing in common, and so we talk pretty often about our writing and writing in general, and then life in general. And it's been interesting to foster our friendship as adults versus like fake adults when we were in college, because you're not really an adult when you're in college. You're learning to be an adult when you're in college.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of college memories that I have with, different people that are just it's such a unique time where there's absolutely no way you would do some of those things now.
Mhm.
But
Oh god, no.
I'm just thinking of this, like, one particular memory where I swear I don't really drink that much, but a lot of these stories
She
involve
really
drinking.
doesn't, guys.
Yeah, I think we might have just been drinking, like, wine or something, we decided to order pizza, and then my friend and I go downstairs, we lived in the same apartment building, and I was like I guess I was had a lot of wine because I was like, "Oh, no, we left the tip upstairs, oh, no." So I took the pizza from the delivery guy, and I told my friend just to wait right here, and I'll be right back with the tip, and I was like, "Don't leave her alone, okay?" So I don't know, I was just like I didn't want him to like, the delivery guy to think that I was just taking my pizza and not bringing the tip down, and so she was like, "I'll just wait with you, I guess." And it was
As,
so
like,
awkward.
collateral.
Yeah.
"Here, you can have
It's
my
like,
friend
"Ah,
until I
like,
bring
I'll
you your
be
tip."
back together." Yeah, but that's just like I mean, you would never do that now. Like, now you would just be like, "Oh, can you just wait with the pizza? I'll be right back," you
Right.
know?
Yeah,
But in
well,
my college brain, this is what made the most sense.
I mean, I was in a sorority in college and spent many weekends in a frat basements that were sticky from beer. You could not pay me to do that now.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's we learn and we evolve, and our relationships do that too. Um, in past podcast episodes, I've talked about my friend Angela, who I met in high school, and we've always been good friends, but kind of drifted. And then with the pandemic, we actually reconnected, and to the point where we also talk a ton, and she's helping me work on my business. And it's amazing how we've kind of picked up where we left off, and we both still support each other's dreams. It used to be that she would make every summer she would make like plan, write, and direct a movie, and I would be in it because it was fun and silly, and like, what else are you going to do in a small town? And I believed in her dream of wanting to be a director and videographer. And now, fun fast forward, she's a videographer, and I'm helping her as much as I can to support her. And it's like it doesn't matter how much time passed, or like if we didn't talk for a couple of years. It's we still believe in each other's dreams and still love each other as individuals. So it's kind of like we're learning to foster our friendship now with the new, I guess, new resources we can share with one another. If like this is my
Mhm.
perspective, and I think it's important to have friends you can share your dreams with, who will cheer you on and support you.
Mhm.
Um, I know that you've always done that for me, Nicole. You kind of like with push me forward.
I try.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also the same. I think it's really good to have friends who are like a sounding board, kind of. And, as you grow up, especially through your 20s, you kind of, I mean, we're all gaining more experiences in different ways and like learning new skills that far exceed what we used to have, whether we were in our early 20s or our teens or whatever. And it's just so interesting to see how we can help each other grow. And I think it's really important to support your friends and to like encourage them to reach their full potential,
Mhm.
you know, and not hold them back.
Yeah, definitely not hold them back. And I think it's important to let, especially if you've been friends with someone for a really long time and you knew them when they were 6 years old or 16 or even 26. It's you have to like let them be who they're going to become and not put expectations on who they should be in your friendship or who they
Mhm.
were. Like, I have a friend who, was maybe a little bit less reliable when we made plans back in the day, but now I don't think, oh, I have to tell her to be there 10 minutes earlier than we actually need to be there, because she's different. She's grown. And
Mhm.
and like I think we all do things like that.
Mhm. Yeah, it's definitely an important point that like it's kind of like not, accepting your friends as they are now and not who they used to be.
Mhm.
Cuz I think like especially with high school friends, in some ways I think it's easiest to fall back into like old patterns
For sure.
with
For
high
sure.
school more so than college.
Because we are more different than our high school selves than our college selves, most likely. Like, there's a
Mhm.
bigger change from 16 to
Yeah.
30 than there is from maybe 22 to 30. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, there's still a lot of growth and change, but
Yeah.
yeah. And I definitely feel like the friends I've made in the last year that I have become really close with, it's like I skipped all of the figuring out myself. I just like became friends with them exactly as I am, because I
Mhm.
know who I am now that I'm
Mhm.
almost 30. And so that's interesting too, because it's like a catalyst where you don't have to fumble through as much.
Yeah. And it's also interesting that like people are all on different paths kind of because I feel like I've had friends who are older than me who I mean I really look up to a lot of them, but then some people I feel like we're just not aligned
Mhm.
in our outlooks on life. And that's not to say like we weren't, good friends or whatever when that was going on, but it's just sort of like I feel like I outgrew this
Mhm.
person very quickly, whereas it might not have been the same for that person. And I think just realizing that like it's not like hard feelings once friendships end. Like yes, there's like I don't know, for me in this particular friendship there was like a little bit of a mourning period, but then after, a few months I was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's better this way.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, like, there's that trope of, like, friends are forever, boys are temporary, kind of like in the rom-com world, and it's true that a lot of the friendships you make are gonna be long-lasting, but all like, a friendship is still a relationship, and there's gonna be breakups. You guys are gonna realize you aren't the right fit for one another, or that in some cases, it's a really toxic friendship, and when you get to a point where you learn you don't need that in your life or you don't have to have it, you can make those
Mhm.
changes, and, like, I've talked about this before. I had a friend who I think we were kind of friends out of proximity, and I, like, valued her friendship at the time, but we weren't good friends for one another. Like, I was not a good friend to her, not because I'm a bad person, but because it was just, like, not really a healthy friendship. And so I became the worst version of myself every time I interacted with her, and
Mhm.
I hated that for me and for her. And so I finally kind of, like, broke up our friendship and just said, I don't see this as something that's helpful or beneficial for us.
Yeah.
And it was hard, and I know there was a lot of hurt feelings, but it was ultimately the right thing for me to do, and
Mhm.
I've never looked back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think relationships can be, complicated because like you said it is a relationship and like for better or for worse we do invest part of ourselves into friendships.
Mhm.
And it can be, hard to move on from them sometimes, but ultimately in some ways it's just the best decision.
Yeah.
But I think that oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking about how I know people who say, "Well, I've been friends with them forever," and it's just like it's just how it is. They're just kind of like selfish, or it's just how our friendship has always been. And
Mhm.
it's, I think, harder to end something that's lasted for a long time because you have so much
Mhm.
history built in. But I think there's people come in to your life when they need to, and they leave when they need to, and you only have so much space in your life to maintain the relationships. And so if you're holding on to a friendship that isn't healthy or isn't helpful, like if it doesn't make you happy to be their friend, it's taking up space for them. Like, that's taking up space for another, like, nurturing, valuable friendship that could be
Mhm.
there instead.
Yeah, that's true. So if you need a sign to end what feels like a toxic or a wrong friendship or takes too much of you, it's okay to end it.
Yeah.
But this is also a sign to, connect with friends this week that you haven't connected with in a while or, you know, re say reactivate some of those like memories that you have with old friends, whether it's like a Zoom happy hour, whatever people are doing these days. And now we'd like to introduce you to our sponsor, the All of Us Research Program. All of Us is from the National Institutes of Health, and it's the largest and most diverse health resource ever.
When I was 22, I moved to a new city away from most of my family and friends. I didn't make any new friends, and I didn't have the support system or really an understanding of my mental health. So I spent 8 months feeling isolated and alone, and I'd cry every day on my way home from work, wishing I was anywhere but there. I lost weight, I couldn't sleep, I was stressed and anxious all the time. Finally, I moved back to be closer to friends and family because I just couldn't take it anymore.
Our mental health is so important and can often be overlooked. Loneliness isn't just unpleasant, it contributes to depression, anxiety, stress, and addiction. It literally makes us sick. Historically, young and diverse communities have been underrepresented in health research. Lack of representation leads to serious consequences. For example, 73% of young adults ages 18 to 22 report feeling lonely sometimes or always alone.
The Cigna US Loneliness Index reveals that Gen Z Americans are living in a time of profound disconnection. Social media usage likely plays a role in the loneliness epidemic, with 71% of heavy users reporting feeling lonely. That figure increased from 53% in the previous year, and the global pandemic has left us feeling isolated while we stay safe at home, amplifying the loneliness issue.
But research can help us learn more about mental health conditions like depression. We can look at the data inside all of us and use it to improve what we know. Young adults are at the epicenter of this crisis, and they hold valuable information about the future of our psychological health.
We are driving change in our country, and it's up to us to insist on being seen and heard. We can make a difference by participating in All of Us. All eligible adults over 18 living anywhere in the United States can join. All of Us is free, and you can sign up from the comfort of your own home. Join the revolution at joinallofus.org/gen20. How do we nurture our friendships, especially when we can't travel right now, or especially now that more and more of us are spread out? Like, what is a
Mm.
good way to do that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I personally do is I ask for my friends' opinions and feedback on a lot of stuff,
Mhm.
like all the time.
I love when you do that, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
I'll just get a text and Nicole will send me something, and sometimes there isn't a lot of context, and I'm just like, "Oh, okay, I'm allowed to give my opinion on this. I like this," or like and then she's like, "Oh, good, this is what I was thinking," and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't really take it personally if someone doesn't like what I like. I just like other people's, thoughts and opinions. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, people that I value,
Yeah, not just, like,
obviously.
tweeting it out to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing I've always done with my long distance friendships since I graduated college is I try to if I, like, come across something that I'm like, "Oh, Brinley loves unicorns, and this is a funny image of a, like, blanket shaped like a unicorn," I'll send it to her. Like,
Mhm.
I think just the you don't have to wait to, like, schedule a time to catch up. That makes it feel so stressful and so pressured. I
Mhm.
think it's important when you're thinking of them, just let them know. It doesn't have to then result into an hour-long phone call. It can just be like, "Hey, I saw this funny tweet,"
Mhm.
or and I do a friend of mine, we have a two-person book club, and he and I will pick a book and read it. Like we talk like once a month. We pick a book, we read it, and then we'll talk about it once
Mhm.
we both finish. And that's a great way to feel like we're connected because it's not just like, oh, hey, what have you been up to? How's work? It's like, oh, what did you think of this story? And it's kind of like when you are if you all watch the same TV show, it's like, all right, what did you think of
Mhm.
Breaking Bad? I actually never watched Breaking Bad, but I know so many people who did. But it's like having that thing in common really helps too, that you can talk about and like share parts of your life that way.
Yeah, it's just like a little deeper and like a little way to connect more than superficially.
Yeah.
So I think it's super important, to do that and like just send those little things. And even just, I mean, they can just even be like little conversation starters. Like sometimes I send my friends lists of things to buy at Trader Joe's. So I'm like, I know you love Trader Joe's.
I was
Tell
gonna
me
say
what's true on this list.
you don't even shop at Trader Joe's.
I know. I know. But
I
my friend Michelle, she sends me things from Trader Joe's. Okay. There's not one
yeah.
near me.
And I think one really neat thing about friendships in your 20s and also friendships as you expand your like travel location if you move to a new city is sharing your friends with other people. Like
Mhm.
Nicole's friend Michelle is now my friend because we've all like Nicole's talked about her enough that I feel like I knew her. And then when Michelle came to Los Angeles, Nicole put us together and was like, "Hey, you guys would get along." And we had brunch and it was so much fun. And now I consider her my friend. And it's
Yeah.
like what a cool thing to see your friends become friends with one another because then your
Mhm.
networks kind of connect and your horizons expand.
Yeah. And your circle is growing in the most beautiful way.
Yeah. And then it makes girls' trips even more fun because everyone knows each other, even if
Yeah.
they weren't like the
That's
original friends
true.
of each other.
That's true. So when we
Mhm.
do go to Turks and Caicos,
2022, we're coming for you.
yeah, we're 23. I'm not sure. We'll see how everything pans out.
Yeah. Yes.
um, but yeah, and then I think the last interesting story we can end this podcast on is I am a big proponent of friendship items. I don't know why
Oh
this
my God, I love this.
started about me, but I mean, Marina and I have friendship lipsticks in the shade purple.
And friendship sunglasses.
Yeah, and friendship cars actually.
That one was an accident. So the way this works is that you'll be out shopping with Nicole and you'll say, I kind of like this lipstick. And she'll say, we should both get it. It'll be our friendship lipstick.
Yeah, and I mean, one time Marina was like, "Oh, I think I need a new pair of sunglasses," and I was like, "Friendship sunglasses," and I spent $100 on a pair of sunglasses just so we'd have the same sunglasses. So, it works both ways, okay?
It does. I mean, I still wear those sunglasses, and every time I do, I think of you. And I'm like, our friendship sunglasses.
Oh,
And it's just, I mean, I didn't grow up with sisters. And so this was like when Nicole first suggested it, I was so excited that she wanted to have the same thing as me. I was like, yes, we're going to do this. Um, so it's kind of just like leaning into the silly fun parts about a friendship where it's like
mhm.
I mean, it's like so much fun to both do that.
Yeah, I like it. I think my friends like it. Yeah, friendship t-shirts.
Purses.
Yeah, lots of friendship items. The cars is kind of a funny story
That
because we
was,
were both in the market for a car the same time,
yeah,
and we just
we didn't plan that one.
yeah, well, I planned to always buy the car that I was gonna buy,
And I didn't
and then
remember
you
what
were
car
like,
you were buying.
"Hey, I got that too."
I just,
They're not the same color though, so
yeah, we failed on that mark. But I just remember Nicole had just had her baby, and I called to check in and tell her, "Oh, I bought a car." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, we bought a car too." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I got a Honda Fit." And she said, "We got a Honda Fit." And it was just
yeah,
like, "Oh, I forgot you had told me you were getting that car." But
yeah,
maybe it was
so,
just a seed planted.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have, friendship Honda Fits.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was just like a funny I have a story like that with my friend Ellie, who we went to the same college together. Also, shout out to Ellie. Hey, if you're listening. We went to college together, but didn't really know each other, but had a mutual friend who also went to college with us. So my friend Elizabeth grew up with Ellie. They both ended up going to the same college. I became friends with Elizabeth, and then but we ran in different groups, so I just like never hung out with Ellie until maybe the end of senior year. And then I was moving to Santa Barbara to stay with my mom while I job hunted. And our mutual friend Elizabeth told me, "Hey, Ellie also lives in Santa Barbara," which is really random because she and I both grew up on the East Coast. Like she's from New Jersey, I'm from Pennsylvania. But our parents randomly relocated to Santa Barbara while we were in college.
Mhm.
And so Elizabeth said, she's also shy and introverted. I think you guys will get along really well, and neither of you know anyone or have any friends, so you should be friends. And that was how our friendship started.
Yeah.
And we as we were getting to know each other, we would hang out and we would take turns going to each other's houses and making dinner because we were like basically broke college students.
Mhm.
And whoever was hosting dinner, the other person would bring dessert. And every time we'd bring ice cream, and one day I was like, "Oh, I'm going to make cake instead of ice cream." And she was like, "Okay, yeah." And we were standing in my kitchen and we kind of were talking about like, I was like, "So, like, I know you really love ice cream, but do you like any other desserts?" And she was like, "Well, I actually don't really feel either way about ice cream. I just get it because I know you like ice cream." And I was like, "Wait, I've been bringing
Mhm.
ice cream to your house because I thought you liked ice cream." And it was just like this funniest mix up of we were both trying to connect to each other. And we thought this one item was like the thing that we had in common, and it's like one of my favorite memories, and we'll joke about it now. I'm like, "Hey, do you have any ice cream?" And like at this point in 2021, I don't even eat ice cream because I can't tolerate dairy, but sad times. But it's like it's interesting to watch your friendships evolve, and like if you like
Mhm.
embrace the kind of funny silly connections like that, they become meaningful and really
Yeah,
deep.
worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really funny.
So now you all know all my friends' names. Don't stalk them on the internet.
And you also know that Marina doesn't like ice cream,
It's not that I don't like ice
and she drives
cream,
a Honda Fit.
it's that ice cream doesn't like me, and I
Mm,
do really love my
that's
Honda
fair.
Fit. Her name is Wanda, Wanda the Honda.
Wanda the Honda.
You're
I don't
awesome.
think my car has a name, but it did recently get a new sibling to the family, so we bought another car.
That's exciting. Are you gonna name that one?
Probably not.
Okay. When I come visit, I'll name your cars because I'm weird. It's fine.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't bother me that people name their cars. It's just never been something that I've done.
I've always done it. My dad's cars never had names, probably because I don't know, it was like a really girly thing for me to be doing, but it's fine. You can name your cars if you want. Um, okay, so let's bring it back to friendships. Nicole, anything else you want to add about fostering friendships in your 20s?
I don't think so. I think we hit all the major points that I feel like are important to, foster. Like, make sure you're spending intentional time with your friends. Don't spend all the time catching up. Don't be afraid to let go of toxic friendships and, kind of respect your friends for who they've grown to be and not who you first met them as.
Exactly, yeah. Well, share with us how you have fostered your friendships, especially in the last year, and we love to hear from you. You can DM us at Gen20 on Instagram or email us if you feel so inclined. We'd love to hear from you. And this has been another episode of the Gen20 podcast. So leave us a rating and review on anywhere you can listen, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.